My husband is a great fan of a sponge pudding, like a lot of men I suppose. He loves a sponge pudding. I never make them, which is really mean of me, because actually if you make them in the microwave they're really easy, really quick and quite delicious. The only thing is you have to eat them fairly quickly. Like a lot of things that you microwave, if you leave them, you know, if you go into a cafe and they give you something, would you like it warm, madam? And they warm it. If you don't eat it immediately, it goes hard. Same with sponge puddings, it doesn't keep. But it's little and you eat it, so that's fine. So the one I'm making for you today is a chocolate and orange sponge pudding. It's 2 ounces of sugar, 2 of flour and 2 of butter. And I'm not going to use butter, I'm going to use the pure spread that we've used before, which is dairy free but is still absolutely delicious and it's very light. So that's ideal for this. I'm just going to pause that while I get that out of the fridge and measure it. In addition to those ingredients, which I've got in here, you need a thin-skinned small orange. So half of the orange, you're going to grate the rind into here, and then you're going to squeeze the juice out of it in there. And the other half you slice beautifully and put around the edge of your bowl, so that you've got something to cover your sponge when it comes out. The thing about sponge puddings is that they don't colour like they would do if you were cooking them traditionally. And if you make a sponge or a jam pudding, you need to add the syrup. Did I say sponge? I meant syrup or jam. You need to add the syrup afterwards, and it doesn't cook and go all gooey like it does if you steam it. So it's not an exact replica, but it's a jolly good copy, and I'm sure he'll love it. Well, you might do too. So in addition to that, I've also got an egg, which doesn't want to crack, which I'm going to put in, and I apologise in advance for the noise, but I'm going to whisk it with my food mixer, my trusty food mixer. And if you haven't been on one of my other lessons where I say this, if you haven't got one of these, I would really get one. They're very cheap. This one is, I think this one is Tesco's, 10 or 12 pounds, and they last ages, and they're really beautiful. So, sorry about the noise. You're now going to add in your orange juice. I've only added half of mine because there's quite a lot actually. It's a very juicy orange, and you don't want it too wet. That's what it should look like. And then you're going to stir in your chocolate buttons. Well, I've got chocolate chip, chocolate drops that you buy in Sainsbury's, in my case. You know, Nigella has people who take all these things away and wash up and clear up and tidy up, which is why she looks so efficient. I don't have that luxury. So you sprinkle those in, and then you mix them through. Right. And that's what your mixture looks like at the end of it. And you're going to put that in your bowl. And as you know, I do like a spatula because you don't waste a single bit. And there's not a lot of this because there's only 2 of us, so we don't want a huge pudding. So with my spatula, I get every last bit out. And try and get it to cover all my orange slices, like that. And then you just put it in your microwave for 5 minutes. One moment. Now when it's done, you can eat it with ice cream or custard or cream. But what is suggested, which I haven't done because it really is so naughty, but if you melt a Mars bar in your microwave for a couple of minutes, and you can just pour it over, it's the most delicious chocolate sauce. But I think that's going a little bit too far for us. We're going to have a good old can of custard because my husband not only loves sponge pudding, he adores custard. So we're going to have custard with ours. You can take your pick of what you have in yours, but we'll see it in 4 minutes 24 seconds. Okay, your microwave's just pinged. So here's my sponge mixture out of the oven. And all I'm going to do is run a knife around it. Fingers crossed, everybody. I'm going to run a knife around like that. Put a plate over the top in time-honoured fashion and turn it over. And there you have. Oh, no, you don't have. There you have a lovely orange and chocolate pudding. I think you'll agree that it's absolutely delicious. I'm sorry you can't smell it and taste it. It smells wonderful. And as you can you see the edges of the sponge? It is, can you see that? The edges of that sponge? It is pale. It's much paler than it would be if you'd steamed it, which is why a chocolate sauce is a good idea. Or if it's a syrup or a jam sponge, you have to, you can pour it over and make it run down the top, down the sides. But it's a quick and easy 5 minute, 2 minutes to cook, to make it, and 5 minutes in there, and you've got a steamed sponge pudding. Delicious, enjoy.